So continuing with paper 2.
Sir. So chapter 2 mein hai na?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So the same thing, sir. So what I found really the reason why I was recommending Cousin is that for every topic there are some research studies which have overlaps between different chapters in paper 2. Be it urban density, I think there is another study on health. I think Urmimala Sarkar. I don't know why, but that book quotes a lot of Indian research studies also. I don't know why they are quoted, but I found a relatively good chunk of research studies based in India. So that is another reason why I found that.
Please rename that book. Some might have forgotten.
Cousin, sir. K-S-S-I-N, Cousin.
Okay. I will share you the link. I will share you the link provided by Shri only in the description box, and you can access these books.
Yes, sir. And also I'll write a short PDF on what are the chapters that I'm referring to.
Yeah,
chapter 1, chapter 2, and all. I think that would be helpful.
That would be beautiful. I will get a creative of that and in a proper manner, and including blogs and sources, and it will help you, every aspirant whosoever is preparing for next year or this year also.
Yes. So in chapter 3, also the same format, sir. In this, I did not find any book. Even the Barlow book that I was talking about for disorder, that book does not focus on therapeutic approach. It's a completely abnormal psychology textbook ka naam. They dealt only with mental disorder. So I found difficulty in finding a book, especially for therapeutic approaches. So I came back to Cicero. So Cicero was my primary book for chapter 3, therapeutic approaches. They have illustrated it, the fear hierarchy wala.
Quite well. Passion Smith is also beautiful for that.
Yes, sir. So I didn't go for any specialized book for chapter 3. I stuck to the basic textbook. So Cicero was my primary thing. I made my notes from that. For that, I added your idea of Googling images. So if it is the systematic desensitization, I used to Google it. Image dekhta tha. So they used to have this pyramid wala or whatever. So I used to copy the images from there. So that is the thing. And I highly advise, if whatever therapeutic approach you are writing, at least remember one research study ka naam. Because we can trick the examiner, saying, for example, the meditation के लिए we generally write कि pain control होता है, stress control होता है, heart disease के लिए अच्छा होता है, diabetes के लिए अच्छा होता है. Instead of writing those generic points, what I used to do is for meditation and yoga, Benson 2016 कुछ है. So what I did was, in a large meta review of thousands of studies by Benson et al. 2016, these were the benefits of meditation, or these were the benefits of yoga.
This is the way you make your answer technical. That the technical term is this only.
Yes, sir. So what I did was, everyone writes heart disease hai, diabetes hai, cancer hai, stress hai, वगैरह. So instead I gave that research study. I said कि हाँ, ये meta review किया ना ये बंदा. So he has concluded this thing. So I write those points. So for every therapeutic approach, I had one name of one research study. I used to write that. If it is yoga also, meditation also, doesn't matter. I don't think the examiner will check कि ये बंदा किया कि नहीं. But I used to have that note. So from that way, I used to ensure कि I'm not writing whatever is coming into my mind. I'm quoting some research studies on. So that was the chapter 3, which is a short, chota chapter. In the 4th chapter, I thought Mark Twain's formatting was very weird. I didn't know he was going up and down about HRD. He was going motivation start kiya tha, leadership start kiya tha. It was very hectic.
That chapter is the most bulkiest of all in Mark Twain. Very heavy.
Very heavy, and also he did not give in a logical flow. He used to run from here and there with some diagrams.
Actually, by nature, this work psychology aspect is, I don't blame Mark Twain also, because there are a lot of work in work psychology. There are a lot of books. So whatever he did, he also did a fine job. But
no. I'm not blaming him, because he was the primary source. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, for one chapter, like for instance, the 3rd chapter, I told that Cicero did a pretty decent job. So you can always refer a bit back. But for chapter 4, I found Mark Twain as the primary source was, number one, I did not find the necessary points. You used to emphasize if it is a 10 marker, try to write 10 points. If it is a 15 marker, try to write 15 points. That was seriously lacking in Mark Twain's book.
Yes,
so what I did was, I chose Robbins' book.
I used to refer Judge Wala book.
Yes, sir. So Robbins and Judge.
Yes.
So Robbins and Judge, organizational psychology. So that book, we should not read it from cover to cover. I think PubAd optional wale do that, cover to cover.
Only few chapters.
So what I did, only few chapters, only chapters with specific topics. Because work psychology, motivation, only 5 theories are there in the text, in the syllabus. So I used to refer only those 5. especially the illustrations part of it, and even the leadership part. They have explained really well. Transformation leadership,
Yes,
lasses. There's
yes,
a
yes,
diagram also,
yes,
X Y axis.
yes, yes,
There are
yes.
like a gradation and all. That is really important because you don't need to explain anything if you I had that diagram. So that Robbins wala book, I found it really helpful. And there is also a secondary source, Landy naam se, work in 21st century. I referred it for sources. I don't recommend it now, but Robbins can be the basic book. Whatever I found in Landy ka book, I've included in my notes. So I think people can refer to my notes for those studies. I don't think they have to go through again the entire textbook. But fourth chapter, yeah. And I think there are some gaps also. I think, sir, advertisement, consumer marketing, and all in this chapter only, no? Fourth chapter.
In the last,
Consumer
I think,
psychology,
uh,
advertisement.
I need yes, yes, I think so.
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, yes. I did not find them anywhere in these textbooks. So what I did was, this is a generic example. If any concept which people are not finding, so for instance, if they say, ki, how can you use psychology in Swachh Bharat? So the technique I used is that I used to use the syllabus. So 1, 2, 3, 4 छोड़ के paper 1 में 5 attention perception में कैसा हो सकता है, learning, memory, intelligence. So every chapter used to form a book. Okay, so attention and perception है. So initially 1 attention का एक point लिखता हूँ मैं कि you have to ensure that the people are aware of the problem. Perception matlab you have to ensure that they're associating
Yeah.
disgusting feeling with open defecation. So what I used to do, this is the technique I used to follow. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 communication. So you have to ensure that you are doing persuasive communication by involving the political leadership from the top until the grassroots functionary.
Yes, yes, yes.
So this is the method I used to follow.
And also, like to add on, I always request all the aspirants to memorize the syllabus first by heart. Only then you are able to write answers, because in both paper 1 and paper 2 there are lots of open-ended questions which can only be answered by memorizing syllabus only, because it demands so diverse fields in that answer. So if it's tunnel vision, you will not get good marks. So please memorize syllabus wholeheartedly. And also what just Shri added, I also say, also write 1 or 2 examples. Like for example, in persuasion, you're writing something regarding Swachh Bharat. So there are Swachhta Abhiyan Grahis in every village. So you can mention them also from your GS knowledge. It will further value add thing.
So I advise aspirants don't get panicked about those particular topics, advertising psychology or
Yeah,
consumer
yes, yes, yes.
psychology, which you won't find it in any book. You can be writing generic answers. Don't lose sleep over, because trust me, I've Googled multiple times. I have read research articles on them, but I did not find anything as simple as using एक chapter ka topic in एक point. So for instance, consumer psychology. How do you grab consumers' attention? You can see ki in a local supermarket, uh, they stock the shelves with as many products as possible, and they write those discount have 40% sale in a big letter
Yeah.
to grab the attention of consumers. So that is one line you can write. Perception ke liye, you can say ki Apple uses its brand logo everywhere, so it is registered with our memory. So
Yes,
those
yes.
basic things you can always think in the back of your mind, and those will be much effective than reading some research study and quoting some technical jargon
Yeah,
for consumer psychology.
just to add on, like you for consumer psychology, there is lots and lots of research, because it was quite well funded by by these MNCs. So you can go there.
Advertising lobby.
Yeah, advertising, so-called advertising lobby. Like, see, type the word wisdom of the crowd on the YouTube, and you will find some videos like how they are using our, you can say, cognitive incapabilities. Like we each and every human being tend to use heuristics, and they know the heuristics well, and they design their supermarkets as per our mental, you can say, mental shortcuts. Like they make us walk through the whole supermarket just to fetch the our essentials like atta, because it was in the corner, because you have to go there, and the least preferred items are just at the entrance. So these are things
And
they
also
using.
during the cash or checking out, like we are paying cash or card or whatever, they'll ensure that we have those chocolates, yeah,
That
with mini size ones, which if you're taking your kids along, they'll ask you to buy
just
them because you're waiting there.
two
There is a
brands I
lot of
want
time.
two brands I want to mention. They make a hit by it. First is Kinder Joy, second is Paperbot.
they ensure that they have these pocket size wala things in the cashier lobby. So, these things you can write. I think these
Yes.
will fetch you much better marks
Better
because
marks. Yes.
they will
Yes.
feel related. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
they take the brand ambassadors for soft drinks or actresses like Katrina Kaif for Slice or Maza. They try to use this classical
This. Yes.
conditioning into
Yes.
the advertising thing.
Yeah.
So these
This
kind of things you can
again.
write.
Again, that you can now. It's time to relate. Like you should relate it to the elaborative likelihood model. Like they are using the detouring, not the central route in persuasion. They use the others, which is they are mainstreaming noise and leaving signals. Instead of telling you the content in Maza, they tell you Katrina is drinking it. You should also drink that.
Yes, sir. So what I found is that instead of going here and there about different theories, I ensure that I start from chapter
Yes.
5, attention and perception. Attention कैसे है, perception कैसे है, learning कैसे है, memory कैसे है.
Yeah,
The brands ना they don't.
now that blocks come into play, that block number
Yes,
2,
sir.
that cognitive block. Now
Two
it's
block number. Yes, sir.
very easy to categorize your knowledge in the paper 2 now, because you already made those blocks. So hope you people are now getting the sense of logic of blocking the syllabus in these categories or concepts.
So yes, sir. So if you're going from there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 30, so you can use everywhere. Thinking and problem solving है. So आपने बोला availability bias है, representative bias है. So जो भी हमारा decision वो Tversky and Kahneman का studies there are
Yes, yes,
bias
yes.
in decision making में. So those all will be leveraged by the advertising lobby to ensure that you're buying products. So for instance, in IPL or something, in cricket matches, they ensure that when a captain is giving a press conference, they keep a soft drink right in front of him,
Right,
as
yes,
if
yes.
he's going to drink,
There's
he
a
or she going to drink it, but he won't.
Cristiano Ronaldo
Yes, sir.
controversy was there back there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Everybody
sir.
knew that.
So these things you are ensure. Yes, sir. So if you are going in a chapter wise, number one, it will ensure that you are having sufficient point. Number two, you're not leaving any important topic out. You're covering everything in the syllabus. So the answers for paper 2 are always in the paper 1, ensuring that you practice this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters is how to use them in those bouncer wala questions, Swachh Bharat ya jo bhi hai, Make in
Actually,
India or Atmanirbhar Bharat.
for me, it was never a bouncer. It was a delightful thing for me, because
Yes,
there you can show your knowledge in a very innovative way.
yes,
It lets you answer things in a very innovative way. Like one of the things, there is a question on, you can say, alternate years, the computer application in psychology. It's one of the UPSC favorites. So I always tell them, you need to, because whenever this question comes, there's a biggest mental set, or you can say perceptual set, or in the aspirants mind was they stick to research methods only. And I tell them, ki, don't stick to research, just widen your vision to the whole syllabus.
You will create 15 points, sir. If you are
Yes,
relating,
yes,
the
yes.
thing is you can link that to every chapter, writing from chapter 1 to chapter 2, 3, 4,
Right,
every chapter,
right,
and you will
right.
get easily 15 points how to do it. Intelligence test में use कर सकते हो, या personality test में you can administer the personality test much better without any bias. And social psychology में you can write that implicit attitude test, IAT का, Green World का. You can use them so much with a lot of examples, that you will be like, अच्छा time हो रहा है यार, मेरे को 15 आ रहा है, यहाँ
Yes,
पर 10
yes,
ही लिखना है, and you will stop it.
yes.
Yes, sir. So this linking thing is very important, especially when you have these unconventional questions. That will also fetch you more marks. You don't need to think about them much. You'll be like, you should memorize that syllabus very, very, very well. That the points will come naturally to you. That
Okay.
is one thing I found in chapter 4.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. So chapter 5, I'm moving to chapter 5, educational psychology. For that, actually, what I found was there's no textbook per se. I referred 3, 4 educational psychology texts. There are many psychological textbooks for educational psychology on the market, pirated ones, but I did not find them really useful. They were very bulky and all. But Gross has a chapter on it. Richard Gross,
Yes,
that I told,
yes,
the
yes.
basic
That
textbook.
is.
Really helpful.
Read it. Yeah, I read it. It's good. Like.
Yes, sir. He applies Piaget's theory. He gives him points. That is the beauty of the textbook. He gives you ready-made points. Piaget's theory 1, 2, 3. How can you use them? Vygotsky theory 1, 2, 3. And then there is a Brunner theory, which is not mentioned in the syllabus, but he gives 1, 2, 3.
Like he's
so
one
those
of the
points are so
main.
unique.
Yeah, he's one of the main constructivists. So Brunner is also important. You can got it like we got Vygotsky. And to add on, and for education psychology also, because these are the very few theories in education psychology, includes Piaget, Vygotsky. So nowadays there are a lot of articles in psychology today regarding it. What is the relevance of these theories post COVID? So I also keep on posting these threads in my channel, so you can update from that there also.
And when you're writing any answer in education psychology, two themes should follow. Number one, because of COVID, the distance learning aspect of one part, you can add it as a add-on. And the second is that you can ensure that India's diversity is mentioned there. So whatever are the studies, the Piaget theory, Vygotsky, both are ठीक है. But you should also ensure that Indian classroom has a mix of every caste and creed and religion and everything. And you can link this topic to social integration chapter. Be it the zigzag principle or be it and the eighth wala disadvantaged groups ka chapter mein, how you are ensuring the nutrition aspect of vulnerable children are taken care of, or how you are ensuring that you are involving parents into the education thing. So this is a really creative chapter where you can link everywhere.
I just want to add on, like, another reference. If you have time, please read the sociology NCRTs, only NCRTs for education psychology, for social integration, because it will give you lots of Indian example. Then there's no need to refer anything. Those are also very beautiful books to refer. I used to refer.
So that I found well.
I used to refer, and they will really help you out in essays, in ethics, and here also.
For in values too, I've actually there is a material given by NCRT, value education ke liye.
Yeah,
I think that is a training material for teachers. I found it really helpful for the entire values chapter in chapter 12 in paper 1, and how to inculcate values in children. They give strategies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like these are the 10 methods you can inculcate values. Why value education is important, 10 points. Yeah, NCRT has come up with a chota material, 90 pages ka material, which is available on free. I found it really helpful because it is there. It helped me in GS4 values, and then in paper 1
question is like the same, inculcate values, and it is I think in almost every year they ask in one form or another regarding value education.
Yes. Good for us. NCRT has come up with a framework document. I think the document is made for teachers, school teachers, how to inculcate in their own school. But we can copy them. They have given methods how to include discussion, how to include role play to inculcate values and all. With very good examples. So you can copy that document also. I'll upload the document in the folder that I'm giving. That is really helpful also for chapter 5. In chapter 6, I like it very much because I found that book called Clues Community Psychology. I've forwarded it to you. In that, the first chapter is a gold mine. He explains what is community psychology, what are the values. There are 7 core values of community psychology.
Yes.
Those things, and first order change and second order change, what is the difference? All the questions that come up in community psychology are dealt in chapter 1 of Clues. So I highly recommend people to read that basic chapter.
But it's a bulky book.
Define why, because
it's a bulky book and chapters are very lengthy. So I suggest 2022 aspirants just have a glance over only chapter 1. Otherwise, it will be very time consuming.
No, sir, only first chapter. Even 2023 also, people should read only the first chapter. The definition of community psychology. Because I think community psychology, people should understand why it is different, because psychology is always about individual based in the context. But community psychology has that sociological lens. It looks at the community as a whole. So I think the first chapter reading is important because it helps give clarity between what is the difference between first order and second order changes. What are the core values that a community psychologist should have? What are the problems that we can deal with community psychology?
And it is more relevant for Indian context because we have a community self. We have a community self, and that's why community psychology is there. So you should interrelate things.
It is a collectivistic thing. I found it really helpful. So I'll attach that Clues for a textbook, first chapter. And also if people don't have time, they can refer to my notes. I've already made the entire thing with examples. So chapter 6, I found it really helpful because it covers everything.
Yes.
There is another subsection in community psychology called group psychology. What are groups? Group norms kya hai and all. There is a subsection also. For that, you can refer to the Kassin material that I told earlier.
Kassin also, the social psychology by Barron also is a good to read material in this topic. I read that. I found it also nice. More or less overlapping. Both I referred both sources, both more or less overlapping.
Yes, sir. Groups ka, and I found that the studies of Kassin were really helpful, even if it is a group, so de-individualization or those 3-4 group processes that are there, brainstorming and all. So I found it really helpful in Kassin's textbook. It's a social psychology textbook, same. I referred Kassin, you referred Baron. So in that chapter, I found it really helpful, group psychology. So our NCRTs also have done a decent job. So Bruce Tuckman ka stage development of groups and all. NCRT, if you refer also, it is okay.
Norming, forming, storming type. It's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 5-stage ka theory, which is not there in Kassin, but it is in NCRT.
NCRT, yes.
Yes, sir. So group psychology you should emphasize because they ask a question, why social small groups are important. Instead of writing generic points that Mark Twain has written, he has done a good job, but you can always build on that because you have to have that edge over the other competitors. So group psychology, you can refer to Kassin material. And for 7th, rehabilitation psychology, I found WHO's materials really helpful. You don't need to refer any books, but what WHO materials, they define key why rehabilitation psychology is important. They say some statistics like 3 billion people require rehabilitation as of now with all and there is a crisis, and the statistics and the pyramids they have given in rehabilitation psychology. I found them really helpful because it helped clear my concept of rehabilitation psychology.
To add on, Shri has just mentioned the statistics to mention about in your answers. So the relevance of these data points is in your introduction. Whenever you are writing your answers, like for example, there are more than 35 million people who are undergoing depression in our country. But while writing these stats, you should mention by which institution it is said, whether it's NIMHANS or whether it's WHO or something else. Please do mention that. And this way of presenting things, I personally call it contextual introduction. Like you are giving the context in that answer, like why this question you asked by UPSC is important, because this is so big a problem.
Yes, sir. I forgot to mention that in the chapter 3 or therapeutic approaches or chapter 2 also.
They're also
I used to write, sir, I used to National Mental Health Survey 2015-16 was the recent one that was done by NIMHANS. So for all the 5 disorders that are mentioned in the syllabus, I remember the exact percentage, 2.1, 3.1, or 4. What is the prevalence in the population? So I used to write in the introduction or in the conclusion somewhere. If it is an introduction, I used to define the disorder. I generally took the definition from APA, American Psychological Association, which was really helpful because the definition.
Because this is the answer writing aspect, and I can't stop myself to intrude you. Sorry for that.
No.
Because the one aspect of writing introduction was giving context, and the second and the most easiest one is to define the concept or the concept or the theme of that question. So here, whenever I always tell the aspirants to write the appropriate definitions. So most of them say, sir, where to get all these definition? Like most of them you can get. For example, you can write definition of attitude given by Newscomp, or for intelligence there are a lot of definition by Sternberg to Guilford, they defined it. But there are some some very generic terms you don't find, like group. How you define group in psychology? So you can refer to APA. So that is the best source, and in bracket you can bluntly write APA, because it's the most acceptable source in the world of psychology to refer to or to define anything. So please mark my words, especially the aspirants who are writing this here. This will give a good objectivity to your answers.
At the dictionary, they maintain a very good dictionary. There is no psychological term that I did not find in APA.
Yes,
dictionary.apa.org.
Yeah.
So they have this. Yes, sir. So if you mention, the beauty of them is that they ensure that all the keywords are there. They will not give you generic thing. So in schizophrenia, they'll say it is a mental disorder characterized by so and so, and then they give points which will help you to build. For example, it's a 15-marker question. If they asked only what are the symptoms and solutions that are there for this disorder, you need 15 points there. So you can always mention definition you can elaborate into 5 points. They're given a different definition bullet point. So I found it really helpful. APA definition.
What is the point like while answer writing, when we have a question in front of us, at time aspirants find themselves in a fix, like they only knew 2 lines about that topic and how to approach that. So this is the solution for that. You should know 4 to 5 dimensions, features or characteristics of that concept, so that you can write more about that topic or that concept in a holistic manner. For example, there's a question on group think, and only two things. Yeah, when you can say unanimity is preferred over rationality in a group, as simple as that. Then this is the definition of group think, and after writing it, you go blank. Ab kya kare? So just you need to think organically कि यार unanimity है और rationality नहीं है, क्यों होगी? Because कोई एक individual या personality dominate कर रही होगी. And they also, when rationality is not there, they close all the gates. They prefer the unanimity situation. There is a mind guarding. So these keywords should come. So whenever you write the definition in your notes, just also write 3 4 5 keywords. It will help you to develop the answer while writing. When there's a question of you can say the UPSC is a tendency nowadays to ask the questions which are interrelated among the concepts. One concept you have to relate it to the other. For example, intelligence and creativity, motivation and emotion, or you can say emotion and creativity. UPSC asks these questions in paper one. So because, and you will not found it anywhere, because this is the place where you have to put in some ingenuity. You have to put in some of your knowledge and how you apply it. So while making notes, you need to think that कि अगर इस type का question आएगा तो how I should approach.
I highly advise note making in point format only. It forces you to think in different dimensions. If you're copy pasting paragraphs, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because you are nowhere writing that paragraph in that question, because in that answer sheet in 2 pages mein. So try to replicate your notes as identical as the answer you'll be writing in the examination.
Yes.
Because at the end of those 5 days that you have in GS and optional, you're just ensuring that you have all the points and you know what to write. Doesn't matter what the question is, but you have the points that there, and you will just tweak it a little bit. Okay,
add,
ye karna hai, wo karna hai.
To add on, sorry Shri, I'm disturbing you a lot, but like it's answer writing. So the lot of the one of the biggest challenge in answer writing is conclusion. So like when Shri and I first started writing Parishram, he also used to say, sir, why this conclusion? There's no need for this IBC type thing in psychology answers. So I explained to him कि if we can do it in GS, why not in psychology? Because this is the way we should approach an answer. This is the appropriate way. And see any formal government document, it is in this manner only, very formal. It starts with the introduction, it gives clarity about the problem, then it will come up with a solution, and it will give you future suggestions. Any government document, any policy note you pick up, and you will find this fashion. So our answers, because though it's a psychology optionals, but it's not a paper for psychologists, it's a paper for administrators. So you should write like an administrator, not like a psychology researcher or a scholar. You have that knowledge, you have to have that knowledge, but your attitude or your approach should be like an administrator. It should be solution oriented. So in conclusion, you should give solutions if possible, but there are number of topics where solution can't be provided. So you give the future. For example, they ask computer application in psychology, so there's no solution yet. So you give the future. What is the AI, ML, or IoT, where these things are getting used in psychology? This is the future. And the third aspect is application. Like like for example, there's a question of Piaget. So you can end up with new Piaget's application in the recent classroom structure or something like this. The third aspect and fourth, and the most essential one is the optimistic view. You should be optimistic in your conclusions, because you have to have you can say a solution which should solve a problem, so that it has to be optimistic. So you should what students do is they just simply summarize it. I say summarize it. They don't analyze it. They simply summarize it after writing 4 points, and they simply say all these computer applications are used in psychology. So this should not be the way. You should think कि यार कैसे हो सकता है मतलब आगे. Okay, Shri, I think we should bit fast pace ourselves. Only 10 minutes are left. So please, you can finish this rest of the paper too.
Yes, sir. So chapter 8, I found that the GS knowledge was really important. Before moving, actually 7 में rehabilitation, there's this framework that is used by Mark Twain. He says that physical में what are the measures that can be taken, behavioral what are the measures that can be taken, cognitive what are the measures, and
Motivational.
social what are the measures.
Yeah.
Those four things they have. What I did was, even though I did not mention the same points, the categorization I remained it the same. So what I did was, I used to refer, for example, of physical disability, or mental disability, or old age, or जो भी है. I used to have my own statistics. So what I used to do is, I used to bring my GS knowledge here. और GS2 में senior का एक होता है. So I used to have those statistics and schemes in my hand. And then physical cognitive, I used to have those side headings, and whatever comes, the side heading thing is very good because I did not find that anywhere else. Mark Twain has really अच्छे से categorize किया. So वो किया था. So for example, it is juvenile. So you have to write the first statistic. Obviously, you have to write is that NCRB ने बोला कितना juvenile से अभी इंडिया में. That's the basic thing you are starting अभी, first statistic. And then juvenile में क्या होता है? Okay, physical क्या है, mental क्या है, emotionally क्या है, social economic क्या है. So those I used to Google. So what are the solutions? I used to find recent examples and all. So the framework remains the same. Your points you can be as creative as you want. Even for prisoners, I've used Nelson Mandela rules by UN का 2015 का Nelson Mandela rules है. So they have given a framework. What are the 6 aspects that a prisoner should get in a jail or a prison? So I've shamelessly copied them, all the 6 topics, because they gave me 6 different dimensions to work on. So you can Google them, you can use your GS knowledge, you can be as creative as possible while retaining the category that was created by Mark Twain to give more points. So that was what I've done in rehabilitation psychology. 8th is also the same thing. It's about disadvantaged sections of our society. The basics will be there, as you mentioned, sociology textbook में या GS1 society में. And then I did not find much more important, but the points given in Mark Twain are really good. You can update it because I think he has written in 2009 or something. The basic framework remained the same, but the examples of the schemes, for example, he says midday meal scheme for nutrition. You can also include Poshan Abhiyan, which is a recent one. Instead of just sticking to mid-day scheme, you can add Poshan Abhiyan here. So, for example, in a social context, you can add this jigsaw puzzle by Aronson, या जो भी है. So the Mark Twain से, hello.
Yeah, I'm getting you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, yes, sir. So what I did was, I retained Mark Twain, but I added examples only. Apart from that, I did not do anything in 8th chapter. And 9th chapter is also already covered in social. If you remember the block 4 में, social integration, and that I'll come to later. 10th chapter I think is IT है ना sir?
IT and mass media.
IT and mass media. I did not find any relevant things. I found a book. I made notes out of 7 theories. There are 7 or 8 theories that deals with IT and mass media. Bandura का एक theory है, and there are some cognitive theories which I found really helpful. So what I did was, I made 8 summaries of the theories, like what does the theory say and how is it relevant. I made it in my notes. I don't think people should go to the source material from wherever I've read it. Please refer to my notes for all the 8 theories. No matter what the question, include all these 8 theories which are there in my notes. Okay, apart
so
from that, Mark Twain, I didn't find anything else.
Next chapter, please.
Yes, sir. 11th chapter, I think economic development. I don't know. No matter how many times I've read Mark Twain, I don't mean any disrespect to him. I didn't understand what he was saying about those 3 theories. Winterbottom कुछ है. I didn't understand the head or tail of it. Atkinson तो मुझे पता था, but I didn't know what he was meant talking about the other 2 theories. So I did not read this chapter. I made my own notes. I referred to different sources. Atkinson का theory मैंने खुद का बनाया था. I think people can refer to that. And entrepreneurship, what I used is Anitya. There is a document on women entrepreneurship. It was really good. It was shared in one of our groups, I guess. So that I made. What are the challenges for women in India? What are the MSMEs that are led by India, and what are the solutions? I made the notes. I think people can refer to the 11th chapter, my notes only. Characteristics of entrepreneurship, I've Googled, and I've made 10 points for every subsection that are there. I avoided Mark Twain because I did not find it useful. The Kakinada study or whatever, I didn't understand what he was saying about the 12-step training of Atkinson and all. Maybe it was only me. If someone understands, that is good, but I did not understand. So I made my own notes for 11. I'm not referring to any source textbooks here. People can refer to my notes for those points. 12th is, so what chapter sir, 12th?
I think gender psychology.
No, 12th sir.
Military, what are military, sports, terrorism?
No, 13 है. 12th का कुछ होता है ना. All of a sudden, I forgot what is 12th chapter.
And see, I'm mentoring people, and I'm not able to. But
It's okay, sir.
sorry, guys. It's a marketing failure.
तो 12th चैप्टर कुछ होता है सर, बहुत ही छोटा रहता है. हाँ, ये है ना environmental psychology.
Environment crowding, yes.
Environmental psychology. For this, there is a social psychology textbook that I'll refer to in paper 1, 12th chapter. The name is Aaron Sanka. Aaron San, the fellow that came up with the jigsaw puzzle thing, he has also a social psychology textbook.
And to add on, at the end, some IGNU material is also fine here. I find it some Indian examples there. That is very good.
In that end, he has given only 2 pages on environmental psychology, and the 2 pages are a gold mine, sir. If you can cover only 2 pages, he has given 5 different psychological terms like implementation intention, yeah, social conformity, yeah, social norms and all. There are
yes.
psychological terms.
Like I find something like place
instead of writing generic points
in IGNU notes. So,
yes, so instead of writing reward hai, punishment hai, I found it really beautiful. 2 pages hai, at the end of the chapter. It's not a basic chapter. What he did was how to apply social psychology in different contexts. There's an environment context there. So 2 pages ka notes hai. There are 5 different psychological concepts. He has defined it and has given a research study for it. I've hearted them and I've added my own current affairs to environmental psychology. So people can refer to that.
I just want to say, please add your environmental knowledge here, because in GS you read a lot. So please fetch in data points or the environmental emergency going on. Yeah, and coming to the last chapter, because we are very short with time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So 13th chapter, military psychology, sports psychology, media influence on pro and anti-social behavior, and psychology of terrorism. I have referred to research materials. Proper research materials I've referred to.
For military,
I've grabbed all.
For military, please refer IDSC site, and there is a one institute, DIPR, Defense Institute of Psychological Research. You will find papers there. They're very good.
So the research study I was referring to is, I think the head of the DIPR has wrote an evaluation on military psychology in India. So yes. I made notes. I don't think people can go again and read the source material, but 13th chapter ke liye 1, 2, 3, 4, I have point-wise research studies and 1, 2, 3, 4, like 10 points. People can copy them, 13th chapter.
Okay.
So that is also good. Or if people want to apply their paper one knowledge, they're more welcome to do that. I have included all the theories
regarding sports psychology, I will give you my notes. I made them holistically, and I being a lover of sports, I used to share a lot of articles on the channel also, like from the Simona Biles issues to Vinesh Fogart mental crisis. So please add those examples. These are very recent, very current, and very related to our psychology syllabus. And coming to last, where only 1 minute left, please.
So 14th chapter I'll cover with paper 1 mein 4th block. I'll cover with that. So that I'm not including here. There I'll have a logical flow.
Yes. And the last, it's time for little marketing. Please market my test series.
Yes, sir. So actually, what the thing is, I had this lethargy of searching these materials and all. So when there was this daily, I wrote tests before prelims itself, Parishram. So what happened is that if there is a exam on environmental psychology, what I did was, okay, aaj exam hai, so I have to search, and I had this deadline. That also helped me not to go deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. So it helped me to have those 10 points beforehand. Okay, next exam, 12 o'clock paper will be uploaded. I should be ready with my notes. That forced me to create this note. So this daily answer thing, it really helped me to make my own notes as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Srinivas, for such a wonderful conversation. Please, I again congratulate you for this great feat. And I would like to continue helping the psychology aspirants in the same manner like you just did. Thank you, Shri.